What is up, my Beater Bros? Beater Maniac here, Week 9 NFL game picks. Now, this season has brought us a lot of surprises, but I think I did relatively well last week. Let's recap real quick. Nailed Houston, nailed Philly, nailed Kansas City, nailed Pittsburgh, Washington. Seattle fucked me, but in a good way. I love when Seattle can compete like that. Russell Wilson played absolutely amazing. Cincinnati won, Chicago won, Baltimore lost, but it wasn't even close. And seeing Cam Newton play like Superman Cam Newton, that's good for football, so I'll take that L all day. Indy won, Arizona won, LA won, New Orleans won, New England won. So I only got two wrong. I only got two wrong last week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I went 12 and 2, baby. I'm back in the positives. Yeah. I'm kind of happy back being in the positives of football predictions and actually not having a bad record anymore. But week 9 is different. Week 9 brings tough matchups that are unpredictable. Well, in the sense that anything could happen. You have Raiders 49ers. Bethard's been playing like absolute cuckadoodle poo poo. They're battling injuries. Defense is okay at best. Raiders, offense has been playing better. I have been impressed with how Doug Martin has filled in for Marshawn Lynch. So I'm going to say the Raiders pick up their second win of the season. I guess the tiebreaker here would be where I have them ranked in power rankings, and I do have the Raiders ranked ahead because of Derek Carr. And when it's relatively close, I usually pick quarterback to quarterback, and I think Raiders have the advantage there, which is something I necessarily didn't think I'd ever say. Bears, Bills. I don't know if Khalil Mack's going to be healthy enough to play this one. I hope he is. He's a fun player to watch. But the Bills' offense is starting Nathan Peterman, so that's an L right there. Bucks, Panthers. I gotta go Panthers at home. I picked against them last week. Do I regret it? No, because both teams are very capable. This week it's Ryan Fitzpatrick against Cam Newton. The Bucks defense does have some holes. I think Cam Newton will be able to explore it. The wide receivers of Carolina have performed better than I thought throughout the year, and Christian McCaffrey is having a really nice season as a running back. C.J. Anderson as a complementary piece, not performing as well as I thought he would, but with Cam Newton and how he can run, that team looks to be poised for a good run at the NFC South if the Saints stumble anytime soon. And yeah, the Chiefs, Browns, yeah, new head coach, new problems. Chiefs, if they lose to the Browns, they're going to have some questions. No offense, Cleveland. Jets, Dolphins. This one's actually very interesting. Do you pick Brock Osweiler with Ryan Tannehill most likely out again? Or do you pick the young rook and Sam Darnold? Do you pick the defense of Jamal Adams and Marcus May, or do you pick the defense of Xavier Howard and such? Do you pick the running back core of Crowell or Kenyon Drake? It's a really tough pick here. I like the Jets. Well, as a Patriots fan, I like what the Jets have been doing. They haven't been performing as bad as their record looks. They've been competitive in almost every game. But I guess I'm going to pick the Dolphins here. I like their run game. I think Howard and the Dolphins secondary will force the Jets into mistakes. I think the difference here, honestly, is the wide receiver core. I think that's the major strength of the Dolphins compared to the Jets, and I'm not knocking the Jets wide receiver core whatsoever. I like Robbie Anderson and such, but I just think the Dolphins is better. It's that simple. And then you have the Steelers at the Ravens. This one's a very interesting matchup. It possibly could be a game of the week candidate at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Baltimore's defense looked exposed last week against Cam Newton, but we all know Pittsburgh Steelers' Ben Roethlisberger is not nearly as athletic as Cam Newton. He can escape the pocket and such and extend plays when he wants to, but not as well as Cam Newton. Steelers offense with James Conner looks amazing. Steelers secondary does not. Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Vance McDonald look really, really good. This one's close. It's strength versus strength with the Ravens defense against the Steelers offense. The question here that needs to be answered before this one gets picked is, can Joe Flacco and the Ravens wide receivers of Crabtree and Snead and such expose the Steelers secondary more so than Antonio Brown can expose the Ravens? That's a tough one. And although the Steelers are more likely to win this game just because of pure offensive talent alone, I'm going to pick the Ravens at home here. And being a divisional game also comes into mind, and I think that the Ravens secondary knows how Big Ben plays. I think they can force him into mistakes, get some key turnovers, because Big Ben does have those games where the Steelers should win, but turnovers cost them, and I think that will be relatively what happens here. Detroit Lions. This one's very interesting for the fact that the Detroit Lions traded away statistically their best receiver on the season in Golden Tate for a mid-round draft pick. Not particularly sure why, but I'm going to pick the Vikings here. If that opens up opportunities for Galladay and such, then I'm all for the move, but it will be interesting to see how that affects them going forward. Then you have the Falcons, Redskins. Speaking of trades, Redskins picked up Clinton Dix. Perfect time if you're taking on the Falcons. The Falcons have a tremendous offense with Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, and frickin' Julio Jones. It's almost Madden-like. It's not fair. I kid though. Well, although it is really good. But I'm gonna pick the Redskins here at home. Difference maker here is I like the matchup of Norman in the secondary of the Redskins against the Falcons wide receivers. I do think the Falcons wide receivers will get yards, they will get points and stuff like that, but it comes down to the run game with the secondary, I think, performing as well as they should. The run game should be stopped for the Falcons, and I think Alex Smith does enough to get it done here. Adrian Peterson should have a decent game, and I think maybe the Redskins win by like 3. And yeah, the Texans Broncos. I'm picking the Texans here. They are on fire as of late. I believe they traded for Demaryius Thomas from the Broncos. So it looks like it's Cortland Sutton time in Denver. But what will that mean for Case Keenum when you trade away one of your best wide receivers? I'm not sure. Texans pass rush versus the Broncos pass rush is going to be a tremendous watch. I like DeAndre Hopkins in this matchup. Demaryius Thomas, I'm not sure if he would have learned much of the playbook in this one either. But still, I'm going to pick the Texans. I meant to force the away win there. I apologize. I think the wide receiver talent favors the Texans, and I think quarterback play favors the Texans here, and I think that's where it really comes into play. Chargers, Seahawks. I'm picking the Chargers on the road here. As good as Seattle played last week, I think overall, the Chargers are a more talented team. Melvin Gordon should be healthy by now. Pairing him with Austin Eckler, I think they have a slight advantage in the running back position. Quarterback position, you could technically split it 50-50. Phillip Rivers is the better passer, but what Russell Wilson does can never be underestimated. He is a special talent, and he can keep the Seahawks competitive in almost any game. And then wide receivers, I'd give the slight edge to Los Angeles. And defensively, I think it's kind of a push because the Seattle Seahawks defense is, I think, underrated so far this year. Should be a good game, should be a close game. Rams, Saints. This one's interesting. The Rams added Dante Fowler. And oh my god, you got Kamara versus Gurley. Cooks versus Thomas, Breeze versus Goff. This matchup here, I'm gonna pick the Saints in the upset. I'm gonna pick the Saints to beat the undefeated Rams. They have home field. They have a tremendous amount of talent on offense, and the Rams have. One reason why I'm picking against the Rams is as good as they have been, Goff has been kind of inconsistent this year. And the Rams have had games where they've only won by a very little bit against kind of teams. So I think the Saints come in. I think they get the win. I think they put themselves technically in position to be the number 1 seed in the NFC because where their records would be tied, they would have the tiebreaker. So that would be this is definitely interesting for playoff seeding. So if you're interested in football, you have to watch this game. Packers Patriots. I'm gonna pick the Patriots here, and it's not because I'm just a Patriots fan. Analytically, I think I'd like to pick the Patriots anyway. Trading away Clinton-Dix, who has been kind of exposed this year, is an interesting move going into a game like it is against New England. But hey, I understand it if you are moving on anyway, get something back in return. It just makes sense. It's like when the Patriots traded Garoppolo last year. It didn't seem like a smart move, but it's better than just flat out losing him. They traded away Tom Montgomery. I'm not going to knock him for that whatsoever. That was an absolutely necessary move after he possibly cost them the game last week. But when I look at the running back position at Green Bay, if Sony Michel is healthy, I give the advantage to the Patriots. And the disadvantage to picking Thursday is I don't know who's starting for New England. Even if he doesn't start Sony Michel, I think the advantage still goes to the Patriots with James White out of the backfield. I think he's slightly better than anybody that Green Bay has. Wide receivers, to me, it is a slight push. Adams is tremendous. Cobb is tremendous. But I also really like Gordon and Edelman and Gronk and Jimmy Graham. They're both tremendous groups. Quarterbacks, they're both really good quarterbacks with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Defensively, I would like to give the advantage to the Patriots with the trade of Clinton-Dix, and they are at home. I'm giving the Patriots the slight edge here. If you ask me for specific percentages on what is the likelihood of each team winning, I know how the FPI works and shit like that. I don't trust it half the time. So I think this game is literally a 53-47 split in favor of New England. If it was on a neutral field. In New England, I'd have to nudge it to more of a 57-43 split. Because like I said, Aaron Rodgers does special things, and he doesn't just do them at home. He can do them on the road too. That is an incredible trait to have for a quarterback. And the Titans at the Cowboys. This one's very interesting. The Titans were supposed to have a really good defense at the beginning of the year, and they did. They performed well. They get to go up against Amari Cooper's first game in the Dallas Cowboys uniform. Can Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan cover him and prevent him from keeping the Cowboys in this game? I am not sure. Can they stop Ezekiel Elliott? That would be the true test here. Jarrell Casey's going to have a good game. Offensively, can DeMarco Murray get going against the pass rush of the Cowboys? I don't believe Mariota's going to have a lot of success in this one. His wide receivers do often drop the ball. But, when I think about this, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about different advantages. Dak Prescott, Marcus Mariota. I can't really give a distinct advantage to either one there. You got Derrick Henry versus Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott obviously wins that one. I don't know how Amari Cooper is going to contribute, so the wide receivers is kind of a push. Defensively, defensive line, DeMarcus Lawrence is so good. I'm gonna have to go. Oh, this one's tough. This one's really tough. I'm gonna have to go with the coach that's Boulder. I was leaning Cowboys here, but I think coaching-wise, Vrabel has more guts, more moxie, and that kind of shit I love. Anyway, guys, like I said before, that matchup was kind of a push, so I went head coaching. That's not something I do often, but anyway, guys, I'll see you next week. Peace.